like to welcome everyone out to the Lake Dallas Independent School District Board of Trustees meeting for February 26th. All members are present and we do have a quorum established. If you would, please join me now in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now, if you will please stand, the pledges of allegiance will be led by the Lake Dallas Middle School Student Council.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you very much. Our next items are student staff reports and recognitions, the first of which is the Lake Dallas Student Council recognitions. This is Mr. Well, you're not Mr. Fabro, are you?
I'm definitely not Mr. Fabro.
I was about to say, I know Mr. Fabro, and you are Mr.
Good.
Fabro. No.
You know, we change it out every once in a while.
That's all right. Go ahead.
Good. All right, so good evening, Dr. Brown, President Stacy, and Board of Trustees. At LDMS, we strive for excellence in all things. This includes our extracurricular activities. I brought 3 sponsors who are going to recognize their groups. First will be our Student Council sponsor, Mr. Fabro, to talk about their trip to Sky Ranch.
I'm Mr. Fabro. Good evening, Dr. Brown and ISD school board members. Thanks for the opportunity to showcase our amazing middle school leaders. On January 25th and 26th, the LDMS Student Council and National Junior Honor Society members attended the Texas Association of Student Councils winter retreat at Sky Ranch in Van, Texas. We've gone for many years. At this retreat, students do various leadership workshops where they're able to learn and share their experiences with others across the state of Texas. In addition, students were able to participate in some team building activities such as rope courses. They went zip lining, so they challenged themselves for things that they typically wouldn't do on their own. It was a great experience for our students, and we're very grateful for the administration for allowing us to provide these opportunities to our kiddos. This retreat also serves as our district business meeting for TASC, where schools must campaign for district offices. Lake Dallas Middle School has held a district office for the past 6 years, and this year our students were nominated and elected as the 2024-2025 President's School for TASC District 3 middle schools. So at this meeting, Jake Renville, our NJHS president, led and conducted the annual business meeting after the election was held, where he addressed several hundred students across the state. Lake Dallas Middle School Student Council has submitted a 2024 application for the TASC Outstanding Student Council and Sweepstakes Award. This will be our 8th year to receive this highest award provided by the state. In addition, these leaders have also submitted their Gold National Student Council Award for their 2nd year in a row. So I'm super proud of these kids. I just can't tell you how proud I am of running such an amazing group of students. When I took over this group 10 years ago, believe it or not, I've been here almost 11 now. We had about 15 to 20 members with about 10 to 20 that were kind of a little bit here active. We now have over 175 student leaders on our campus between both the NJHS and Student Council. So I'd like for the Student Council and NJHS kids to stand up. And I'd like you guys to give them a round of applause for their hard work this year. Thanks again for your time and for providing the opportunity to lead such a great group.
All right. I would like to welcome our band director, Mrs. May, to the podium to recognize our LDMS students that made the All-Region Band.
Good evening, school School Board and Dr. Brown. I'm Felicia May. I teach band at the middle school. The way that our all-region bands work, we're in Region 2 for Texas Music Educators Association. And all the school districts that are with us are Louisville, Denton, Argyle, and Northwest. And when you get to those auditions, there's usually, it's divided over 2 days. There's a Wednesday and a Saturday. They are in October 25th and 28th this past year. And there's about 1,500 students that will audition. It's just, there are students everywhere, and they do such a great job. And what they prepare for those auditions, there are 8 of the 12 major scales, a chromatic scale, many of which are full range. They prepare 2 etudes. One is lyrical, one is technical. They're selected pieces. And then if they do really well at phase 1 for a panel of judges, then they are told to go on to phase 2, and they go immediately. They go to a different room, a different set of judges. We call it a blind jury. The judges are behind a screen. The students don't have to look, and they don't have to look at them. Plus, it's more objective that way. And then they will, again, for another panel of judges, they'll play the chromatic scale, the 2 etudes again, and then they'll have to do a sight reading excerpt. And so they prepare a lot for this. It takes months of preparation and hard work for that. All of our honor band students auditioned, all of the students in the varsity band. And then those that made it into the band, there are 4 region bands because our region is so large. And so it basically got down to about 400 students out of that around 1,500. And there are students in 4 of those bands. We had students there. They rehearse all morning. They have a kind of a quick lunch that we bring in, and then we have a short afternoon rehearsal where they basically run through their concert and get prepared for that. And that they only meet that one time. Those ensembles will only be together that one day. And then we commemorate that with, of course, the special performance. They make a professional recording to help commemorate that special performance. And the conductors that they work with all day are highly skilled, motivating, and talented individuals. Some have retired, some are still active teaching. And so I want to recognize those students. We have Liza Lee on oboe. We have Jonas Thompson on clarinet. And then I have one student who is having trouble with transportation with getting here, but I want to recognize her with all her hard work. Janiyah Hartsfield, also on clarinet. Gael Perez on bass clarinet. And then Caden Emer made a special alternate position for this, and it was such hard work, and I wanted to recognize him on trombone, Caden Emer. Okay. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
All right, our final group that we're going to recognize is going to be our required students. So at this time, we're going to welcome our choir director, Mrs. Reed Irwin, to the podium to recognize our LDMS students who made the all-region choir.
Good evening. Thank you for having us tonight. My name is Christina Reed. I have the privilege of directing the choir at Lake Dallas Middle School. Tonight, it's my pleasure to stand before you and honor the achievements of our 3 students who have earned a place in the all-region choir. On October 22nd, more than 400 talented treble students gathered at Navo Middle School on a journey that would test their skills, determination, and love for music. These students, including 3 of our very own from Lake Dallas, stood before a panel of 3 judges, showcasing songs they had meticulously prepared since October. In addition to that, they had to blind read a sight reading excerpt that they'd never seen before. Out of these singers, it is with immense pride I honor the exceptional students who were selected to the Region 2 All-Region Choir. Kylie Agley, 27th chair, soprano. Helen Stratton, 8th chair, soprano 1. And Alexa Muniz, 1st chair, alto. So following their selection, our students had the incredible opportunity to work alongside renowned choir directors from across the state. On Saturday, November 11th, they immersed themselves in a day filled with rehearsals, learning new vocal techniques, and collaborating with fellow choir members from across the region. Despite being strangers at the start, they united through their shared love of singing to create a unique and breathtaking concert. To our all-region choir members, please accept my heartfelt congratulations. Your passion, talent, and dedication have set you apart, not only as extraordinary musicians, but also as shining examples of perseverance and excellence. As you continue to embark on your musical journey, may you always sing with passion, perform with joy, and let your voices resonate with the beauty of the world around you. Thank you for sharing your remarkable gift with us, inspiring us all with your music. Thank you.
Congratulations to all y'all. Now we got some presentations from the high school. Miss Avellino, did I get that right?
Yes. I'm nobody else but me today.
I'm so proud of myself.
Dr. Brown, President Stacy, Board of Trustees, thank you for allowing high school to present some of our recognitions this evening. First, I'd like to introduce you to Kelsey. Kelsey, can you come up and join me? You can tell she must be all the way up here. This is Kelsey. Kelsey is a junior at Lake Dallas High School, and she is currently in Ms. Murray's digital art classes and Mr. Ashbacher's audiovisual production 2 class. Kelsey, you may remember, has entered the Take Care of Texas video contest, which focuses on learning about protecting the environment. So students created 30-second video submissions that show positive ways to take care of Texas, and Kelsey made it in the top 6 finalists, so top 6 videos in the entire state of Texas. So we wanted to be able to showcase that for you and highlight that talent, and I think we'd like to show your video if you don't mind. Well, we're gonna watch the video. Here, we can watch with me.
I can't believe this. Did you know that every minute a faucet runs 2 gallons of water are used? To conserve water, make sure to turn off the tap when you're not using it. This includes when you're washing dishes and brushing your teeth, as well as being mindful of how much water you're using when taking showers. Another easy way to conserve is to collect rainwater, so try to make a difference by conserving water today. We need to take care of Texas. It's the only one we've got.
So, Kelsey, again, just congratulations on your success, and we're super proud of you. And just to give the board and Dr. Brown an idea about how long did it take you to have to work on that? I think people don't in general understand that a 30-second video is hours and hours of work. So what would you estimate was the time you put in to create that?
I'd say probably like 30 to 48 hours maybe.
Fantastic job. Thank you. And I have one other recognition from high school tonight, but unfortunately both of our students had last-minute changes to their schedules. But I'd like to recognize, sorry, I'm supposed to be doing my job. I'd like to recognize Nisa Sandoval and Ben Silva. Most of you will probably remember we had a little gas incident adventure at the high school on January the 24th. And we experienced some changes in schedule and class transitions while our LDISD facilities crews and local first responders just helped to investigate and make sure everything was safe for us to be there. As you can imagine, this made for an influx of parents and lots of changes to the school day. Ben and Nisa are our 2 front office aides during the window that was happening. And I like to highlight them for their outstanding service. They were not among the many students who decided to go home. They stuck to their stations. They never wavered, and their sole concern was just to make sure that they were doing those office aide responsibilities and keeping our front office running despite all the fun things that were occurring. And probably the most impressive thing was the fact that you would walk in and out and they never looked overwhelmed. They were like, I have my tasks, I know what to do, I know what my focus is at my station, I'm just doing that. And so we're super proud of them and showing those true Falcon qualities that we admire from our our kids at Lake Dallas High School. So thank you.
Thank you. Our next recognition will be from Mr. Wes Eversole, our Deputy Superintendent and CFO. It's all yours.
Well, thank you, Mr. Stacy. Good evening, Board. Good evening, Dr. Brown. So my story starts with Mike Dabney. We're recognizing another event here. And so on, I believe it was January 17th, sometime after supper, Mike lost water pressure at his house. And so I'm sure he looked around, looked to see if there's any major leaks, didn't find any, so he contacted, I guess he called his neighbors, and apparently their water pressure was out as well. And then after a period of time, it kind of dawned on him that, maybe we got a bigger issue than just his neighborhood. And so he looked into a few other things, and there were some more houses that didn't have any pressure. So about 9 o'clock that evening, he texts me, he texted Molly, he texted Corey, he texted David Talbert, he texted Ashley. Ashley was over at Corinth Elementary. Jessica was out. And so just to kind of give you a heads up that we don't have any pressure. And then he forwarded an email to us that evening that was sent out by the city around 10 o'clock that we had a boil water notice, that they had some issues, and the city was trying to figure out what was going on as well. And so I'm sure they acted as fast as they could, but they posted something on their website, I think around 10 o'clock that evening, and then we got an email from Mike, because Mike does live in Corinth, and none of those other folks do. And so at any rate, so as the story continues, first of all, we're absolutely concerned about water pressure and lack of water. And so we were up at the high school a little bit before 5 o'clock in the morning, first of all, to make sure we had water pressure. Because if we don't have water pressure, we can't flush the toilets. And we have a hard time cooking as well without water. And so we walked around several areas at the high school. They had full water pressure, so we felt like we were okay as far as the restrooms go. And, our sprinkler system as well, fire protection. So at any rate, but we checked their website super early in the morning. It hadn't changed, and so the boil water notice was still in effect. So my first call was to Corey Ray. So Corey, and let me introduce. We've got some ladies that he works with: Brandy Rourke, Jennifer Singleton, Stephanie Hurley, Hilda Mendez Estrada, Lexi Morris, Cindy Taylor. I'm not sure if Cindy's here. Oh, yeah, Cindy's here. Okay, and Corey. And so first of all, Corey and Cindy, I called them both, and both of them picked up the phone. This was like 5:05 in the morning. So thank you for picking up the phone at 5 o'clock in the morning. So anyway, we said, okay, we can't cook, or at least we can't use water. And so that means we couldn't use the steamers, we couldn't use the kettles, and so real quickly they changed their menu and just did some grab and go stuff, anything that was heat and serve. They had some water. We had some water bottles, so they're using water bottles to sanitize their hands and hand sanitizer as well. So thank you all for everything y'all have done to make sure that we didn't miss a beat as far as feeding all of our kids. So thank you. So the next phone call, about 5:10 that morning, was David Marquin. David Marquin right here. I'll introduce him. Y'all know David. And so thank you for picking up the phone at 5:10 in the morning. And so anyway, I said, David, we're going to need some water. So now we do house water here in this facility for these type of emergencies. I think this is the first time in my career we've needed this amount of water, but we had it. And so, I asked David to rally the crews, and we need to deliver water to the campuses. And so They normally congregate around 7 in the morning, so we asked you guys to come in a little bit earlier. Instead of going over to your maintenance facility, they came over here, and they delivered about 120 cases of water to the high school and about 35 cases to Corinth Elementary before the kids got there. And then we did have some hand sanitizer left, and so we had plenty of hand sanitizer to go around for both campuses. So thanks for, in a pinch, bringing them in and giving us assistance in delivering water. So thank you. And then my next phone call was to David Talbert. He picked up the phone as well, so thank you. At the time, we had no idea how much time, how many days we would be without water. We were prepared for that day, but we weren't prepared for 2 days. And so him and Marcus went down to Sam's and picked up, what was it, David? 150 cases, I think, something like that at Sam's. And so filled that up, delivered that to the campus that afternoon. So thank you all for what y'all have done as far as making sure the water was there for our kids. So thank you. Appreciate it. And then my next phone call about 5:20 was to Molly. Thank you for picking up the phone at 5:20 in the morning. And so anyway, I explained to Molly what was going on, what procedures we had in place. I thought we'd be okay. But before kids got there, we made sure that they had enough water for 1,300 students. And I think Molly and her staff hand-delivered maybe twice or 3 times to the classrooms that day, just to make sure our students had plenty of water, and we had plenty of water in the cafeteria as well. So thank you for picking up the phone, and thank you for what you've done. And then lastly, I called Ashley Fay. She was pinch hitting for Jessica. And I'm not sure if Ashley's here tonight. No, she isn't. Any rate, same thing. So told her what was going on. We've got water there. Both the food service staffs at Corinth and LDE Corinth and the high school were there preparing food before even the principals got there. And so everybody was in good shape at Corinth. So really, I guess the reason why we're bringing this stuff up, these things happen not on a daily basis, but they happen quite often. We have some detours, I just appreciate a staff that will make a pivot on a second, without any qualms. And everybody was there to just kind of help out, and really the day went pretty carefree. And then luckily that evening we were okay, and we didn't have to do that the second day. So anyway, I just wanted to recognize all those individuals and thank you for what y'all have done. So thank you.
Okay, now I'll turn it over to Dr. Brown for February Teacher and Employees of the Month.
I'd like to thank Wes for answering the phone also at 5 a.m. So good job to you too, sir. Thank you. Appreciate you coordinating.
Did she answer the phone at 5 a.m.?
No. He doesn't call me before 9 a.m. I'm just kidding. Our February employee and staff employees of the month were recognized a few weeks ago, and during our break we will take their picture, or we will show the videos. And if you guys will join us, we'll start our pictures down in the front.
Don't be shy.
look right this way and give me a smile. 1, 2, 3. Hold it, hold it. Hold it for the moms and dads back there. All right, good job, guys. Thank you.
Okay, Jonas, y'all stay. Kaden, stay. Eliza, stay. Izzy, we're staying. Hey, Kaden. Hey, Kaden. Get your jacket off. Okay, do some play. Right there.
All right, everybody look this way. Actually, my call friend right here on the end. Can you stick little steps in right there? Perfect. Okay, everybody looking. 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Hold it. Mom, Dad. You're good. All right. Thank you, guys. All right. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Hold it. Hold it.
Moms, come up closer.
Get
It's
them closer,
okay.
get up there.
I promise.
Thank you. All right. Perfect, Miss McKinley. Yes. Actually, you were perfect, and then you stepped in front of Mr. Hutchinson. That's fine, yes. All right, you ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. I'm like, I turned around. All right, and then last but not least, our facilities
It's okay.
nutrition
It's a
staff.
friend of my daughter's. It's.
Okay. Everybody's looking. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Hold. Okay, we're all set. I love how, you notice how I look behind me, like out of habit, like parents? Oh, no, okay, we're good.
Our next item on the agenda is executive session. The open session of the meeting will adjourn. The Board of Trustees will reconvene in executive session pursuant to one or more of the sections of the Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code. The Board of Trustees will reconvene in open session to take any final action, decision, or vote on a matter deliberated in executive session, and it is 5:59. It is 6:40. We are back in open session. Our next item of the meeting is public comment, to which we have no one signed up to speak. So we'll move on to our next item, which is a public hearing regarding the 2022-2023 Lake Dallas ISD Texas Academic Performance Report. Oh, got that out finally. Miss Kelly, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Good evening, President Stacy, Dr. Brown, and school board member trustees. Tonight we are here to hold our public hearing to present the 22-23 Texas Academic Performance Report, or more commonly known as the TAPER. Per Texas Education Code 39.306, a public hearing is required within 90 days of the release of this annual report, and the report will also be posted on the Lake Dallas ISD website. The annual TAPER report for Lake Dallas ISD, as you see, has the district rating shown as TBD, to be determined. The 2023 A through F ratings are still pending based on judicial rulings from current court cases, as well as possible continued legislative updates. And so we will keep you posted. Tonight's presentation will include district information such as student and staff profile information, STAR data, specifically averages for all subjects and grade levels, college career and military readiness, or CCMR, and graduation for the class of 2022. So we keep in mind that CCMR and graduation are lagging indicators that will draw from the 2022 data and that are reported out for 2023 accountability. So a little bit about our student and staff profile. District information includes that Lake Dallas ISD offers early childhood education and pre-K all the way through 12th grade. Lake Dallas ISD has 3 elementary schools, 1 middle school, 1 high school, and a district alternative education center. For 2022-23, we had an enrollment of 3,893 students, an employed staff of 566, with teachers serving as 289 of those personnel. Class sizes averaged 17 to 21 for K through 5th grade and 21 to 24 for 6th through 12th grade. Those are averages. Looking a little bit at our staff profile, specifically teachers by years of experience. So if we start at the bottom of this slide, working our way up, we see beginning teachers make up 6.6% of our teachers in Lake Dallas. Teachers with 1 to 5% are at 27.4%. 6 to 10 years experience, they're at 17%. 11 to 20 years are at 29.8. 21 to 30 years are at 16.5, and 30 years and above are at 2.8%. We're very similar to the state in the percentages of teachers at the 1 to 5 and the 6 to 10 year percentages. And we actually have a slightly higher percentage of teachers at the 11 to 20 and the 21 years to 30 years than the state does. This gives us good information for our retention and how we're growing our teachers and how they're choosing to stay in Lake Dallas, and maybe some of those years that they make decisions to stay with us. Looking at our student profile for 22-23, student enrollment by race and ethnicity. African American students were at 9.8%, Hispanic 34.8%, white students 46.3%, American Indian 0.08%, Asian were at 3%, Pacific Islander 0.1%, 2 or more races 0.52%. And our student populations have remained fairly consistent year over year, in that there's been changes of approximately 1% within each subpopulation from 22-23 to the 22-22 school year to the 22-23 school year. Our student enrollment by program type. If we notice, this shows a comparison of the 21-22 school year and the 22-23 school year. For our students enrolled in economically disadvantaged, in our special education programs, are as emergent bilingual. Student enrollment programs related to these have remained steady year over year. Specifically, 43% of our students are indicated as economically disadvantaged. 13% participate and served as through our special education program, and 13% are served through our emergent bilingual program. This was for the 22-23 school year. And we see just that little bit of a shift from the previous year to last year. Now looking at STAR, there's a lot of numbers up there, but I wanted you to be able to see 3-year comparison from 21 all the way through 2023. So this slide contains all grades and all subjects. And so it's an average of all grade levels and all subjects of STAR. So if we look on the left, we see approaches grade level. And so that's the minimum we know, that's the minimum standard to be considered that passing rate for STAR. And over on the right-hand side, that's the meets grade level performance criteria, which is considered grade level performance. And so over that 3-year comparison, that's an average of all subjects and all grade levels that is shown on that next line. And so if we move from left to right, we notice the slight increase in the average of all subjects and all grade levels. For instance, all subjects for 2023 at 77%, and we can notice in 2022 it was at 76 under approaches. And as we move to the right for meets, that on grade level performance, that's our goal. 2023 was at 48%, whereas 2022 was at 45% for all subjects. And then as we move down into reading, moving back over to the left, we were at 80% for 2023. That's a significant increase from 76% for all students. Moving to the right for meets on grade level, a slight increase to 54%. Going down a row for math, we increased minimally at 1%, the slight increase there. Going across to meets, that on grade level performance increased significantly by 6%, moving to 40% from 34% for all students. Science increased at approaches by a percentage, 1%, and then at the meets level by 3%. Bless you. And then social studies, we saw a dip in social studies at that approaches level at 82% for 2023, and at 2022 it was at 85%. And then at the meets level, it stayed steady at 57%. So if we look closely at some of those special programs we just talked about a moment ago, within the all subjects, all students, if we look at the performance of students in special programs, specifically economically disadvantaged indicators, special education, and emergent bilingual, we notice increases of 1% from 2022 to 2023 in almost all areas for approaches. And then for meets and above, which is on grade level performance, there was a decrease of 2% for students receiving special education services at the meets grade level. And then emergent bilingual students remained at 25% year over year at that on grade level performance. So looking at our college career and military readiness. So this data is from 2022 due to that lagging indicator being a year behind. Starting at the top, we can see Lake Dallas ISD at 50%, meeting that CCMR indicator as compared to the region at 66.6%, as compared to the state of Texas at 70%. And then below that, we'll see it divided between college ready and then career military ready. And under college ready, that is defined as under TSI, dual credit and AP. In college ready, that consists of SAT, ACT, college prep, as well as those dual credit courses and those AP scores of 3 or higher. And again, we can see that we are below the region and the state in those areas. And then moving across to the career and military, those consist of those military enlistments. Once those are signed and the military gives us back those forms, and there's some lag time in there without a doubt, but we do get those back. And then also those IBCs, those industry-based certifications that our students earn through CTE programs. And then also the IEP Workforce Ready. Those are our students who are served through special education who are able to exemplify and show that they are workforce ready through having a job, having those skill sets, and also the Special Education Advanced Diploma. Those are students who are served through special education who graduate with an advanced diploma such as recommended or distinguished or the foundational diploma, but they also earn an endorsement. And so we can see the IEP Workforce Ready students. We are above the region and the state for serving those students. And then high school graduation rate. This continues to be an area of celebration for Lake Dallas. 21-22 was 99.3. And that is an increase over 2021 that was at 98.5. So a continued area of success. So questions?
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? Okay, go ahead.
I have a question. Can you go back to that 2 slides, the CCMR slide? That one, yes. So you had trends on the other ones. So, like, what was we're at 50% right now. If that, we're supposed to, like, don't we get A, B, C, D grades for these two? I know they're not out yet. So, like, do we have an A last year? What would be this year? Are we trending up? Are we trending down? Or are we trending the same for our CCMR points?
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, great question.
Okay.
Great question. And so, no, it's still a little bit, has some question marks because they have not released that A through F accountability yet.
Okay.
And that is still part of that lawsuit. However, we can make some deductions based on what we know. And so what we know this year is that we are at 50%. And last year we were at 55.1, I believe, 55%. And we were under the requirement that at least 60% of the students had to meet CCMR in order for it to be eligible for an A. So we were at 55%, so that was eligible for a B.
Okay.
Okay, so it is changed now, and part of that change came through that A through F refresh, that 2023 refresh. We heard a lot about that terminology, and part of that refresh was increasing that 60% to 88%.
Oh, okay.
So that is part of that, yes.
Okay.
That is part of that right now. So if that holds, so that 88% goes in statewide and everyone is held to that standard. Okay. And so it would take 88% to be considered for an A, and somewhere in the upper to mid C 70s to be considered for a B. And so we can deduct it from there, even though we don't have the exact calculations. So we know we would, since our performance did not increase, we can assume that we would be lower than a B.
Okay, so what is what our goal we're working towards with building and all and stuff that we've talked about in workshop and stuff? Is that why our goals are are we trending to work towards raising this, obviously, with some of the new stuff we're starting in middle school and high school and all that? So we're about to be on the right track, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. And so part of the
So we're gonna-
anticipation of that is that everybody doesn't get to see the fruits of all that for at least a
Sure.
year or so out.
Sure.
But we can share along the way what we are doing and the impact that it's having. For example, some of the steps we've already taken under that college readiness piece, we have implemented Texas College Bridge at the high school. And so Ms. Avellino and her team have implemented that college prep program for the students to be able to earn that CCMR indicator.
Okay.
When another path may not have been available to them. They were not going to be successful, perhaps. Also, the alignment and the expansion of CTE strands.
Yes.
To ensure that every strand leads to an IBC.
Okay.
Along with that, teachers have received professional development on the assessment, on the certification that they're offering and that they're teaching to. In addition, our students in AP courses, we have been able to provide AP preparation for them and look to continue to do that. So this has been a year of researching these things, implementing, and then now it's evaluating the value that they brought and see what do we take into next year and build on to continue to build on. As well as that low cost and no cost dual credit. How are we amplifying that for our students? So those are some big pieces that are already underway and growing. So this is 23, 24, and so we will see that not next year, but the next.
Okay, great, thank you.
Yes.
So if the lawsuit holds, then we don't know what's going to happen with the class of 2023, because part of the lawsuit is that the change was made to 88% for the class of 2022. And so that 88% is still being enforced for the class of 2023. And so we may see some gaps. If the lawsuit holds, we may see some gaps in our accountability ratings. But unless they do something different, this is always going to be a year behind, which is one of the struggles that we have internally, that we're working right now for something that we don't know what the accountability is going to be. The class of 2024's accountability won't show up until 2026. So it's.
I guess the solution would be to, I don't know, get in a DeLorean and go back in time, and then we'd be able to handle that.
That would be an excellent solution.
Maybe they
Would
can
be.
build that in our CTE department.
Yes. Okay. This is a public hearing. Is there anyone from the public that would like to comment? No, and we will close the public hearing. Thank you. We'll move on to our next item.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm sorry. I just kind of left her there. I'm sorry. Our next item is our consent agenda items. Those are those routine items that can be handled in one motion and vote. Is there any question or comment regarding the consent agenda from the board? If not, I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent
Motion
agenda
to-
items.
Motion to approve the consent agenda by Mr. Smith. Is there a second? A second by Mr. Tucker. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approval, please indicate. And that passes unanimous. Thank you. Our next item are action items, the first of which is consideration approval of guaranteed maximum price for phase number 2, part 1 of the 2019 bond projects at Lake Dallas High School. Mr. Eversole.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Stacy. Okay, so this evening we're going to be presenting to the board our guaranteed maximum price for what we're calling Phase 2, Part 1 of the 19 bond project. And so as a refresher, this is just kind of a site plan of what's going to occur this next summer, and then what will start occurring after this summer, and then go into summer 2. And so, so the yellow areas are what we're going to try to accomplish this summer, which is the renovation of the existing band hall and choir space. And then we'd like to move the tennis courts from the current location up to where the soccer field is. In addition, what we'd like to get done this summer is to realign the parking or realign the entry point into the west parking lot. And then build a pride walk, which is labeled in blue, going into the stadium. That will occur during the second summer. So the second summer is again in blue, and I'll kind of get into the detail in just a second. But as part of what we're going to try to accomplish this summer also is to kind of redesign the band practice area to give a little more space and add some probably some ambient lighting up there. But anyway, as much as anything to realign that space. So this is our current rendering of the location of the tennis courts, and we're also going to include the shot put and discus here as well. And then this is a picture you've seen before. This is ultimately the back of the high school, and so that's a reconfigured entryway into the back of the high school, and then that will be the extension of the band hall to the right. That's completion as of the second summer. So this is the existing fine arts wing as it stands right now. So we've got choir or band hall essentially in pink, choir room in blue, fire academy in red, and the theater obviously in orange. And so part one, the first phase, which again will be completed this summer, is the band hall renovation. So within the boundaries of the outside wall, we're going to strip everything down within those confines of the wall and renovate hopefully in 7 or 8 weeks. And then the second summer, we'll be finishing part two, which is the extension of the band hall and the back of the house, and then bringing the sound room down from the second story to the first story. And then part of the second summer renovations is renovating the first story of the 2-story facility portion of the high school to more centrally focused career and technology, to renovate the ag building to include our fire academy, EMT, and law, and then build a 25,000 square foot building, which hopefully will start this fall and be completed. Our hope is to complete it before the end of school, so that next summer, so that we can move folks into that building while we renovate during the second summer the first story of the 2-story wing of the high school. So back in December, we brought the design and development recommendation to the board and for part one, and the board approved that. Tonight, we are bringing phase 2, part 1, the GMP recommendation to the board. We're going to actually bring 3 GMPs to the board. This is a compressed schedule. And so tonight we're bringing a GMP that will relate simply to what we're trying to accomplish this summer. We'd like to recommend this approval tonight, and then we'll be bringing a second and third GMP to you shortly, which I'm going to show you the schedule. But the summation of those 3 GMPs will ultimately be one GMP, if that makes sense. And so during the March 18th meeting, we plan to bring phase 2A, which is a civil package of what we're going to try to accomplish this summer and next summer. It gets a little bit confusing. But during our March meeting, we're going to show you a little more detail on how we're going to reconfigure that entryway into the west parking lot. We're going to give you a little more information concerning the band practice area, and a little more information concerning the whole civil package, which includes the tennis courts as well. And then phase 2B is we're going to bring at the same time the design component of the renovation of the 2-story wing, and then the renovation of the ag building, and then the addition of the new 25,000 square foot building. And then during the April meeting, we'd like to bring a GMP for the civil package, which we're titling 2A. And then during the June 17th meeting, we'd like to bring a GMP for 2B, which is the remainder of the project. And so our construction schedule is, our hope is that we complete the summer work in the band hall and the choir room, that renovation, by August 1st. It's a pretty aggressive schedule, but we feel we can do it, and I'll show you the guys that will make that happen here in just a second, introduce you. And then June 1st, we hope to complete, by June 1st, we hope to complete the new Career and Technology building. And then at the end of August, or beginning of August, we'd like to complete the renovation inside the high school and the renovation of the ag building. So that's our schedule as it stands right now. And so before, yes, ma'am, go ahead. Yes. Did I write that down? Yes. You know what? I thought we'd change that. Okay, you're right. You're right. And so that should be good eye, Mr. Appleby, very good eye. And so the completion of the Cape building should be 2025. Very good. Stand corrected. Okay. So before I go any further, I'd like to introduce Matt Crowley. He's with BLK, one of our lead architects and design architects on the job, and then Derek Clower and Phil Garcia from Crossland. I'm not sure if y'all have met yet, but they are our construction manager, and so we've been having lots of meetings lately, and everybody's on board to try to make this a really nice project, a timely project, and a cost-efficient project. So, so concerning the guaranteed maximum price for Phase 2, Part 1, the construction documents for Phase 2, Part 1 were issued January 15th of 2024. And so we went out to bid, Crossland went out to bid on all the different subcomponents of the first part. Bids were received February 6th, 2024. The bids were reviewed by Crossland, reviewed by BLK, and we reviewed those as well. I think we had, Derek told me we had around 95 vendors submit bids for a component of this project, so that's a good showing. And each vendor that was selected was based on the best value for the school district. And so the final recommendation for GMP for this first part is $3.496 million and $3,496,631. And so again, the board has approved the CMAR procurement method, and so that is the guaranteed maximum price that we're proposing this evening. And so we'd be happy to answer any questions you may have concerning Phase 2, Part 1.
Thanks, Wes. Is there any questions or comments from the board? Ms. Collier. Well, you turned your mic on.
Okay. So, Mike, I just have pretty questions.
It's okay.
So, does the pretty stuff include in this?
The pretty stuff?
The pretty stuff. Okay, so what if I just want to make sure, well, I mean, I just want to ask, like, we've been to, several of us have gone to several other events and other CTE buildings.
Right.
Like we went to Garland, and I've been to Louisville,
Right.
and I went with y'all to Allen, and also at Tasby in one of the exhibit booths. There we go.
Right.
Everything is all new, fun, fresh, bright colors. Everything's different now than when we were kids, the typical
Right.
square box.
Right.
So are we making it pretty and fun and fresh and updated?
We're going to make it pretty and fun and updated, absolutely. So as a point of reference, we went
like flexible seating and all that fun stuff that's all new.
We went a big step in the first phase of the high school. It looks completely different now
Right.
than it did, right? And so that was a huge step, and we're going to replicate that. Now, tonight we're just discussing the band hall and the choir room, and then there'll be where the fire academy is currently will be a classroom. Okay, so that's the only component. So included in this are winger sound rooms, and so there are 2, 4, 6 included, 4 for choir. Is it? It's 8. Okay, 2 for choir, and 6 for band. And so these are high quality winger sound rooms, which are prefabbed, and so we've included some nice flooring. We've included some good colors, but that being said, we're gonna give you a feel for what that will look like as far as the interior space goes in a future meeting when we talk about the other phases. Okay, and so we haven't gone through the final color selection phase right now, but for the most part, the band hall and the choir will absolutely look fresh and new, similar to what we have in the high school. And then when we expand into the existing high school, we're looking at opening it up a little bit from the hallways, so it doesn't have that, the thin hallway look. And so we're thinking about putting some windows in with security in mind and so forth and so on. So we're going to come back to you with a presentation on that, and then we're going to definitely come back to you with a presentation concerning the new building and the ag building. So we're just not quite there yet.
Thank you.
For you, we'll make it as colorful as fruit salad. How about that?
I just want the fun, flexible seating stuff.
Got a question for you. It kind of piggybacks on what when we were looking at some of these CTE programs at these other schools, I noticed that there were a lot of expensive infrastructure that had nothing to do with the construction of the building inside. For example, in the nurse, they had the nurses section where they taught nursing. They had the expensive fake dummies, the beds. In the EMS, they had the ambulance that was half, and all these props and things. Are any of these numbers including any of that type of infrastructure in whatever programs that we want to initiate in the beginning?
So it's not included in this number because this is simply the band and choir. Okay, but absolutely. So we've spent the past 2 weeks sitting down with high school staff in each of the different strands, and so we spent 2 days. Oh gosh, we probably had 8 or 9 meetings, bringing in the specific teachers that teach those specific strands. And so Molly was part of that discussion, Rendy was part of that discussion, Kelly was part of that discussion as well. And there was, God, what, Matt, 4 architects, 5 architects, I can't remember. And so it was a room full. And we spent an hour to hour and a half with each individual component of, with Nick Oshbacher and his space, Gina Manassian and her space, Tristan and John Bryan in their space. And so we went through all that very logically to hear what their needs are. It wasn't necessarily a design experiment. It was, okay, what do you guys really want in your space? And now it's up to VLK to give us that design based on that. And so, but I think VLK did design the Arlington Career and Tech Center, didn't y'all? That was y'all's design? Yeah. And so we've got a lot of a wealth and knowledge concerning that space, and we've been through that space, and there's some really cool things. But we've absolutely talked about the ambulance setup that you may have seen, when you've been out and about. John Bryan brought that up. We're looking at doing some pretty cool stuff in pharmacy tech, with the counter space and that type of thing. We're looking at a really cool AV space. We're going to probably think we have scheduled 4 computer labs, 5 computer labs, something like that. So we're going to do some pretty cool stuff in there. With Miss Manassian space, we heard her discussions and needs, and so they've taken copious notes. In addition, we'd like to renovate the existing training space, which is in the high school, so it's right next to the Echo Dome. Go down that hallway. That was our first training room that we had in the district, certainly at the high school. And then ultimately that will, our plans are to expand that into a teaching space. And so that expansion is they're kind of working on the ultimate design, so that can be a classroom as well as a training space for the high school and the trainers. So we're excited about that. And so, but as we talk, we're still into the design phase, and so we will bring all that information to you and present and get your input and feedback.
Got to build SeaWorld before you can bring in Shamu, right?
That's true.
Well,
That's
all right.
One quick.
Yes, sir.
What's your question?
The dates for phase 1 and phase 2 are roughly August to be completed for us to move in. Do we have how many plus days due to unforeseen Mother Nature events or anything?
Yeah, so the reality of it is what it is, right? I mean, we're going to try to get this stuff done by August. Now, the nice thing about this next summer, it's all interior stuff. And so we shouldn't have any weather delays because it's just all interior stuff. And so, so after spring break, I'm going to be sitting down with the fine art staff and talk about, how we're going to move things out and that type of thing, because every square inch will be gutted and be brand new. And so our friends from Crossland are confident that they can get it done in 7 or 8 weeks. And so the supply chain issues that we saw in the first phase are no longer there. We've already ordered the Winger sound rooms because those are long lead time items. We've also ordered some sound doors. There's some sound doors in the band hall and choir area. We've ordered those. Those are the kind of probably the 2 longest lead time items we have. So Carlson was on the ball and have ordered those. And so those are in the pipeline. And so all the rest of the stuff, there's going to be some sound walls that are going to be put up. That sound wall that divides the current band space and the choir space will move, so that will be a newly erected sound wall. Actually, all that space will be newly erected. Where your percussion room right now is going to be choir, so all those walls will be reconfigured. But they feel they can get it done. We're going to have to get it done because we just don't have any wiggle room.
Any other questions? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this item. Motion to approve. Who was that? Mr. Appleby.
I'll second.
I have a second from Mr. Baird. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approval, please indicate. That passes unanimous. Thank you. Our next item is consideration approval of local policy update 122. Dr. Brown.
Thank you, sir. You have attached in your packet a complete summary of 122, and there's a couple of things that I wanted to bring to your attention that are very different than the current board policy. So the first one is DC local. This changes the policy, and this is a change statewide, not just Lake Dallas ISD, but the law change that allows for the school district to hire bus drivers outside of the nepotism rules, so nepotism for the superintendent and nepotism for the board. And that's a result of just statewide shortages in bus drivers. And so that is the recommended policy from TASB there. You have a policy EIC local that has to do with class ranking. And so it allows parents to request that a child repeat a class. However, repeating that class does not result in a change in their GPA. And so this is part of kind of the parent choice work at the legislative level. And so if they're not happy with the progress, they feel like the child didn't obtain enough knowledge, let's say in Algebra 1, and they want them to take it again, they absolutely can request that. However, whatever the first GPA, the first grade they received is the GPA that stands for grade point average calculations later. So that is new. There is an update to the compulsory attendance that now career investigations can be considered an excused absence for students. And then the last one I wanted to point out was FFAC local, which has to do with the opioids work, and we talked about that several months ago. This is the recommended TASB. This is in alignment with our procedures that were presented several months ago at the board. That's a summary of it. Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second? Second by Ms. McKinley. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approval, please indicate. And that passes unanimous. Thank you. Our next item is consideration approval of the District of Innovation Plan amendments.
So again, in your packet, and we provided you this information last week, the DEIC met and recommended the changes that you see for the District of Innovation Plan. The first being that the law requires that if a parent elects to have their student retained, that we must retain the child. However, the District of Innovation Plan will restrict parents to requesting that by May 1st, and also would restrict to allowing a student to only be retained once between kindergarten and 8th grade. And the reason we're asking for that is if you retain too many times, that by the time they get to high school, you know, every year that they're retained, they're now not 18 graduating, they're 19 years old graduating. Sometimes once they've been retained twice, they're 20 years old, and we know that kids that are that old struggle even more so when they get to high school. The second recommendation was to modify how we do probationary contracts. The law allows us to do 1 probationary year for people that have experience the last 5 of 8 years. And so the District of Innovation would allow the district to extend 1 more probationary year for our employees. The third was service members' request to transfer. The law says that a child who is a student who's a child of a service member must be permitted to transfer. We would like to utilize our current standard for transfer for all students, which is based on the grade level capacity of the campus, the grades of the student, the discipline, attendance, and STAR scores. And that's our current practice now. So we would like to align any request from a service member to be aligned to all other parents that may request it. And then the notice for notifying people or parents that employees are not certified, and then allowing us to continue to recruit in all areas. As you know, there's a staffing shortage overall, so we want to be able to continue to recruit people that maybe have degrees or work experience in specific areas to teach, even if they are not certified. These people do not receive contracts. They do have work agreements in place, but they're not contracted employees. So we would like to expand that. And then the last one is under armed security officers, that, as you know, there is a requirement for there to be an armed security officer present during all regular school hours. Our DOI, the recommendation is that we allow for the rules for continuous coverage to be expanded, so that in the case of an unexplained absence, or if that person is dealing with another situation, has to be off campus for work-related purposes, after we've exhausted all opportunities to find a substitute, if there's not a substitute available, then we will assign SROs or staff that are in the general location to that campus to oversee. So for example, the high school and Corinth are very close, so while that person is off campus dealing with a situation, the person from the high school in Corinth would be responsible for both of those. This is, as far as we know, there are not any other DOI plans that call for this, but we want to start looking at opportunities to make sure that we are compliant with the continuous coverage. And so we have a couple of campuses, as you know, that are well within proximity, that the response time would be very short for them to get them. It doesn't mean that we're not going to continue to fill vacancies. We are continue to work with our police departments, who have done an exceptional job of supporting us and just turning over every rock and trying to make sure that we have somebody on campus every day possible. But this is kind of our plan D, if you will, if no other opportunities are available.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board?
My only question is just the clarity around the service members. Am I understanding correctly that, so right now, service member, like students, service members can transfer in with no, I mean, there's no restrictions, and under this proposed amendment, there could be a scenario in which a child of a service member is denied transfer into the district. Is that correct?
That's correct. They would follow the same requirements. So right now, if we have somebody that requests a transfer, and let's say we get their discipline report and there's been an incident, a severe incident at another school that they're coming from, we deny them the transfer option. So in this scenario, the service member's child has a similar discipline situation at a prior campus, we would deny them access as well. We're trying to be consistent with the transfers and kind of put some structure around that.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
I'll make a motion, we approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Baird. To a second. Second by Ms. Collier. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approval, please indicate. Passes unanimous. Thank you. Our next item is consideration and approval of the resolution regarding chaplains as volunteers. Dr. Brown.
Yes, you have in your packet the resolution to make a decision. As you know, Senate Bill 763 does require a record vote by the Board of Trustees in regards to accepting or denying chaplains access to act as volunteers for the purpose of providing counseling to students. So the resolution that you have attached affirms, if you kind of go down, I wasn't planning to read the whole thing, but if you go down, it affirms in the second paragraph, affirms the need for stricter guidance and qualifications for chaplains to serve schools and counselors, serve schools in counselor and mental and behavioral health roles, including extensive education and training requirements regarding safety, student safety, suicide prevention, identifying verbal, physical, sexual abuse, and additional training related to mental health of children and staff. And it affirms the need for parental involvement in the selection of outside counseling services for children in public schools. And so the resolution in front of you expresses gratitude for the district volunteers. So right now, chaplains can volunteer in the district just like any parent can under policy GKG. And it affirms that, you know, we believe there's a positive impact that volunteers have. However, it is stating that the Board of Lake Dallas ISD declines to expand our current support services or programs under Chapter 23 and does not authorize the hiring of chaplains for counselor or mental health and behavior roles until additional support and funding are provided by the state.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions or comments on this? If not, I will entertain a motion on this. No, we don't do a motion. We're doing a record vote, right?
Do a motion, a
Motion,
second, and then the record vote.
Okay. Do I have a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution as presented.
Okay, I have a motion to approve the resolution by Mr. Smith. Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Appleby. Thank you. Is there any discussion? We're going to start down at this end with Ms. McKinley. Your vote. Yes. Yes. Are you in favor of the resolution? Okay.
Of the resolution.
Right. All right. Mr. Appleby. Mr. Appleby in favor of the resolution. Mr. Tucker. In favor of the resolution. Mr. Baird.
I'm in favor.
Mr. Baird in favor of the resolution. Mr. Smith.
I'm in favor of the resolution.
Mr. Smith in favor of the resolution. Mrs. Collier.
I'm in favor of the resolution.
Ms. Collier in favor of the resolution, and Lance Stacy in favor of the resolution. Okay. Move on to our next item, which is consideration approval of board resolution in support of a fair and transparent accountability system. Dr. Brown.
Yes, as you guys know, there's a lawsuit pending. This resolution does not place us in the lawsuit. It's a resolution stating that we agree that there needs to be considerable change made to the accountability system. So this is not a financial obligation by the district in any way to obtain representation or participate in the lawsuit. I just want to make sure that that's clear. As you heard just earlier during the TAPER report, one of the concerns is that the rating system continuously changes. And in this case, it's changed during the year in which we have no control. So our kiddos graduated, we can't go back in time, even if we are in a DeLorean, and have that put in place. So by approving this resolution, the board is committing support for changes in the rating system to be a fair, transparent, and effective system, opposes the commissioner's retroactive and drastic mid-year changes to the measures, stand in support of the rating system adhering to Texas state law, and stand in support of efforts to reform the accountability system to one that uses multiple effective school measures for all grade levels and a more holistic approach to assign ratings of a campus and the performance of each student in lieu of relying heavily on one standardized test.
Thank you, Dr. Brown. Is there any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion on this item.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Mr. Baird. So I have a second. A second by Ms. McKinley. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor of approval of the resolution, please indicate. And that passes unanimous. Thank you. That concludes our action items. Our next items are calendar announcements and information.
Just a couple of points. Our Teacher and Employee of the Month breakfast is on March the 1st, coming up here in a couple of days. We have a board workshop next Friday, and Falcon Insider, our very last session, is next week on March 5th, and it will be at Lake Dallas Elementary. And then we have invited, after the last one, we'll invite the participants to come in for recognition in the month of April.
Is that all you got? All right. Very succinct. I appreciate it.
No, Monday. Did I say Friday? I really want to spend Friday evening with y'all, so no. I'm sorry. It's Monday. I get really excited about board workshop, so.
Doug Brown must be busy that night, right? All right. Our next item is executive session. We have no need for executive session, so it is 7:31, and we are adjourned. Thank you.